For the Grand Angle, we are interested in photojournalism. It is often discussed and its importance is rarely appreciated. So we will interview photojournalist Marcus Bleasdale about his work. He is online with us. Hello, your photos and your work are generally shows the horrors of conflict and wars and their impact on the population, especially in the DRC. What do you think is the impact and importance on humanitarian photography?
I think it's really important to focus, as a photographer at least, I find it very important to focus on those conflicts that are less reported and that are less present in the news than we see other conflicts reported around the world. And I think DRC has always had, the last 20 years, has had the unfortunate circumstance of having several conflicts going on in different places at different times. And very rarely do those conflicts get adequately reported. And so I made it my mission really to focus on the reasons why these conflicts were ongoing, and also who was really suffering as a result of those conflicts, focusing on the humanitarian side of conflict, looking at the impact that conflict has on population. And my hope was to really maintain an understanding and a presence of that conflict in the international media.
Bleasdale, for the past few years, many voices have risen and advocated for Africa to be painted in a more positive light. Some media organizations, individuals, and in fact, associations are talking about they're trying to change the narrative of Africa as a dark continent, which is marred by violence. What do you make of this attempt? Does it mean that we don't have to report on the sufferings on the continent?
I think there's an important space for both of those narratives. I think it's really essential to show the challenges that countries and economies and communities have. And it's important to highlight them. We can't ignore them. If people are suffering, then we need to make sure that that suffering stops, and that the appropriate agencies that could help the individuals that need help can get to where they need to provide the assistance that is so desperately needed. But it's also important to show that the world is not just suffering, that there is vitality and humor and happiness and thoughtfulness and hope throughout the nation, and both the book and the exhibition that we have at the International Criminal Court show all of those. It's not just about the suffering, but it's also about the hope.
What is the biggest challenge currently facing the DRC? Is this Ebola epidemic?
I think the fundamental problem that the DRC has is one of governance. And yes, that's not to diminish the impact that the Ebola has on the populations that are dealing with that. The hope is that the international community can manage that and contain it and control it, and hopefully within a few weeks, if not months, we can control the situation there. I think that the biggest crisis that the DRC is facing now is one of governance, and because that impacts the whole nation and has massive ramifications for millions and millions of people and the future of the nation as we know it.